My road bike's getting a bit worn out again. It's quite a few years old now. It's about, I think it's about 11 years old now. It's had various upgrades in the past, but it's getting to that point where things are getting worn out again. I've already done some upgrades. I've had brand new wheels, and I've had a brand new saddle. A few years ago I had completely replaced the gear levers and the derailleurs and the crank. Basically I upgraded it from a 9-speed Shimano Sora group set to a 10-speed Shimano Tiagra group set. Always a bit of a challenge keeping track of these names. But it's got a bit of a problem. I've got my new wheels, got my new cassette on, got an almost new chain. I have used the chain a few times, but before I did this, but cassette's brand new, wheels are new. I've been riding around on my hybrid bike recently, so that's a bit heavy, so it's quite nice to have something that I can pick up with a single finger again. And with this new saddle and new wheels it should stay quite light. Yeah, I can't quite use it though, and I think the chain rings are wearing out. If I put some force, it's a triple chain set, I'm on the smallest chain ring. If I put some force down to there, the bike seems to move because it overcomes the force of the brakes. That's what you would expect. So basically that chain ring is fine. If I move it to the second one, what you will see happen is when I put some force on, it just slips. See, it's the derailleur is still in the second chainring position, but the chain has fallen down onto the little chainring. So, only way to fix that is to spin it round a bit more until it goes back onto the chainring. Now, that's a bit dangerous. That happens a lot when I'm out on the road. It's actually quite dangerous because you're not expecting it, and basically you almost fall off. So just move it up to the big chain ring, and we'll see what that does. Yeah, I can put a lot of force on that, and it stays put. Yeah, it might be a bit difficult to see on the video camera, but I'll see if I can do a close-up. If I just push on there like that, like I'm about to set off from a traffic light or set off from a junction, the chain just comes straight off the chain ring. Right, so here hopefully you can see the difference between the big chain ring and the middle chain ring. You can't see the small chain ring because the chain's on it. I think you'll notice the middle chain ring is actually quite a bit more worn than the outer chain ring. Now I wasn't expecting this to wear out so quickly. I only bought this in 2018 I think, and I wouldn't say it's been used to any kind of excess, so I'm surprised it's worn out. My old Shimano Sora one lasted a good 7 or 8 years. Yeah, if we move the camera just down there slightly, you can see the difference between the big one and the little one. I think it's safe to say that that's more worn out than it should be, judging by the appearance. But of course now I've actually got to try and find some replacement parts. This is actually a bit of a challenge. The Shimano Tiagra ones, these are 4-bolt chainring. Turns out the older Tiagra ones were 5-bolt, like the Shimano Sora ones that this replaced. They were 5 bolts. I'm now on 4-bolt ones, but this needs to be a 4-bolt one. I can't find them at any of my usual mail order suppliers like Wiggle or Evans. I have actually just about managed to find an exact part for this on eBay, so I think I can get an exact replacement. but it was a bit of a challenge to find. A lot of the aftermarket ones are actually the 5-bolt ones, and this is actually for a triple chainring, as you can see. A lot of aftermarket ones and other Shimano ones are advertised for double chainrings. That's actually a bit of a pain because whilst one for the double one might work, I don't know for certain if it will, because the double ones can have different spacing in between the different rings, and if you don't get that spacing right, you can end up having the chain basically get stuck between the two chain rings. So if things don't fit, and this is the problem with modern bicycles. You've got so many different combinations of things, and I don't think triples are quite as common as they were a few years ago. And of course now this is a 10 speed, of course 11 speed is getting popular now, and with 11 speed parts everything needs to be even thinner than it is for the 10 speed parts. So things are smaller, things are more tightly packed together, and parts are just not that easily interchangeable, at least not as much as they used to be. And of course that means there's a lot more parts on the market, and it becomes harder to try and find the parts that you actually need. Right, thanks to eBay, I've got an official Shimano chainring. It's cost me $22.99, although it's since gone up to $24.99 since I bought it. I've only got the middle one because that's the one that seems to have gone bad on my bike. I'm glad I've not had to buy a big one, because the big ones, the outer chain rings, they're like 50 quid. The small ones are a bit cheaper, but the big ones are about 50 quid, so I'm glad I'm not having to change that just yet. May do in the foreseeable future, but for now we'll just do this one. I'll just bring you in for a close look at this chain ring, because the teeth are funny shapes on these Shimano ones. And this is probably where some of the money goes, because they're all funny shapes. You see that one looks like it's got the top chopped off. That one looks a bit more round. That one looks a bit angled. Maybe you can see it better on the other side. So it kind of looks like it's worn out. It's not. That's deliberate. That's designed to help you shift from one chainring to the other. So that's part of the design. But it does also kind of help make it harder to tell whether it's worn out or not. I've got to try and figure out how to get this old one off now. I think I'd best go and read the dealer manual. On a bit tight. Oh, goodness me. Oh. Wonder if they put any thread lock on these. Oh, there we go. Now then, I don't know how well I'll be able to show this on video. If I just turn the aperture down. There's sunlight there. I can quite clearly see, comparing this new one to the old one, I can quite clearly see that this old one is well and truly worn out. If we align them so the teeth should be about the same. If you look at those teeth, you can see that one there is very well worn compared to that one. Same with those. And you can see they're pointing in the wrong direction. You've got this like shark fin pattern, which is almost there on the other ones. It kind of goes the other way. So Yeah, I can safely say that this middle chainring is well and truly worn out. Let's go to a comparison. Here's the little chainring. This doesn't really have those funny patterns on it. Well, it does, but it's not as obvious. I think that'll last quite a long time. And here's the big one. I've not cleaned it up yet. I think you can tell that it's worn, but it's not really badly worn like that middle one is. So I think these two have got a bit of life left in them yet. There we go, all back together and with a completely new middle chainring. So I'm hoping that'll work now. Battle time for the moment of truth. Does it work? Let's just put it onto the middle chainring. Move it. Shift properly. There we go. If I put some torque on this, will it slip off? Oh, I'm putting quite a bit of force on that and it's not slipping off. There we go, we can give it a good whack and it's not coming off. So I think that's a good fix.